Hi, beautiful souls. This is Srimanju Katragadda from Life is Magical podcast. So, thank you for being here and listening to all the podcast. And I do really appreciate you taking time for yourself and sharing your practices with me after listening in and seeing the benefits. It just makes me feel so happy that I'm able to connect with you guys and hear your stories, how it has been helpful and impactful as well. So, here in the podcast, generally, I do share short, simple techniques and a thought process or some tools and techniques, and that have been acquired for over years of doing the spiritual work. Sometimes it can get a bit lonely, so you would love to hear someone else's experiences and resonate or add more to your own toolkit as well. So today's episode is what spiritual practices do you do, or what spiritual practices you can bring into yourself as well. So I'm going to share what it means and what I do on general day-to-day stuff, and if there is anything, do take it in, try it out, and let me know. If something doesn't resonate yet, park it to the side, come back, revisit to this episode, and grab notes if you would like to, because I'm feeling there is going to be a lot of things that we're going to be covering here. So the first thing is, why do we practice anything related to spirituality? Spirituality has become such a term that you're hearing all the time, constantly buzzing in the mainstreams, but also it's quite overwhelming. Now let me know, guys, do you feel overwhelmed by the whole jargon or spirituality? For me, it does. Even after over 12 years, it still does. It becomes like a burden that I just need to pause, don't do anything, and then relook into what exactly I'm doing, what is beneficial here. Sometimes you get so used to buckled up with all these different things people say, like, hey, did you do meditation? Did you do Reiki? Did you ground yourself? Did you use smudge? Or do you use crystals? Do you listen to music, dance? It's so much overwhelming, I tell you. But if you feel like doing nothing, don't worry. You're still going ahead. You're not at a standstill. And sometimes you don't need anything as well. All you need to do is snuggle up, sleep, rest. That's it. Sometimes the simple things are the most beneficial things. Yeah. And why do we even need a spiritual practice? I feel we need it because we need to ground ourselves. We need to be compassionate to ourselves, or empathic, or to quieten our mind. And that is where we all tend to start meditating or even observing our own breath, just to improve our concentration and attentions, right? And when we begin with those ideas, it's like a deep ocean. You get sucked in. And you also need to remember why you began this, where you began, and what are you doing. That's the most important thing. If you are a person who does yoga, fantastic, that is your spiritual practice, and you're okay with that, because yoga, I believe totally, it's a meditation on its own, because you need to be in the moment to practice those steps, and be breathing, be in your body, anchor it. That's the most important thing. And maybe you do praying. Prayer is a meditation for me. And when I pray, I also opening up my ears, my intuition, to hear, to listen, to receive guidance as well. But what happens is, to do all this, initially we need to be consistent. Consistent as show up every day to something. Just think about when you were learning to write alphabets, you were consistently doing it, you were tracing those alphabets, right? And by that practice you got better, your motor skills improved, to hold the pen improved, pencil. And after a while you don't need to practice it as much as, right? You need to upgrade to next things. Then you'll go on to learning words, 2-letter words, like, 3 letters, 4 letters, 5 letters, yeah. And the same happens with ourselves as well. When we started, we built up our muscle to be in the spiritual realm, because that is where you would have found your happiness, solitude, peace within yourself, or you were more calmer. And that is kind of an addiction as well, because that's a nice thing to be at. And yeah, so you wanted to do more of it. So go back to the basics and understand what it's been. Some people do a lot of beautiful rituals, and that is your spiritual practice. But spiritual practice having definitely helps in our lifestyle. So having these spiritual practices helps us to be grounded, more centered with ourselves, and connect to everything else from that center focal point, and be the best version of ourselves. So that is where we use these spiritual tools here. So some of the spiritual practices, as I was writing it down, like, yeah, a few bullet points, I was thinking, oh my God, this is a lot. And so when I started my practice, I still remember it was with Reiki. It when my baby was less than a year old, and a toddler as well, and full-time job, and having arthritis, all I could do at the time is 7 minutes of chakra healing meditation. I would listen and do my Reiki for 7 minutes every single day for 21 days. And that was a homework given to us when I did level 1. And I said, okay, let's do this. I'm very much a person, like, skeptic. So I would love to see, like, okay, in 21 days, I should see some change, or maybe I should benefit out of this. So that gave me the practice time and a discipline as well to myself. And so 21 days led to 12 years now. So still every day I do practice it. It depends on the timing. It could be 5 minutes or an hour. But at the time, I was also learning how to meditate, mindfulness, communicating with angels. So I would try to juggle around, fit everything in. And within Reiki, we used to have the symbols to practice as well. So it was a lot of package to be dealing with, like having a normal life and dealing with children, the schools, and also, like, yeah, with the work as well. And with all that, it got in overwhelming. I felt like, where is this leading to? It's like I don't have enough time. And that made me re-look into what is the most important thing I love and enjoy, and that is not effort for me. And that made me come down to Reiki as my daily thing. And in between a couple of days, like, I would be adding in meditations or art or mindfulness and different things. So do look into, if you're doing too many things, you don't have enough time. Sometimes you need to be observing as well with these changes. You can't keep watering the plants every single day when there is a overleak happening, right? You need to check in. You need to pause sometimes, check in if the compost is wet. Are the roots getting enough? Some plants need less, some plants need more water. So just have a re-look into your practices. That's the most important thing. And also journaling helps us to re-look into it with much ease. And my main intention is here to tell you or to share what my experiences is, not to tell you what is right for any one of us or what's wrong, because we all are so beautifully different and our thresholds are so different. And if you feel overwhelmed, hey, listen, I'm with you on that. And if you're able to do everything, I'm with you on that, because I have done both, so I do understand where our soul needs what. So some of the practices that I do regular is definitely my Reiki. So some of the other things that I do keep shifting between a week is focusing on water. One day just focusing on water. Am I drinking enough? Like, is my body thirsty? Just by that, I'm actually in awareness of my body. I'm in awareness of my throat, my stomach, and that helps me to be grounded. And last couple of months, I have been feeling the need to rest more. My body is craving for rest. When I rest, I generally would be rest is for me when I'm drawing or doing some art. But recently, it's like actually don't do anything and just rest on the couch and just for even 20 minutes. When I do that, I am feeling so uplifted. There is no meditation, there is no TV, there is no activity. I mean, like my hands are totally tied not to do anything and just wanted to witness what is it like to rest for 20 minutes not doing anything, with no phone of course. And actually it is interesting, in the start it was so struggle and hard, but afterwards I started liking it. And so I try to squeeze 1 or 2 days in a week just to do those little breaks of doing nothing. Since last autumn, I have been into the habit of cacao. It's a chocolate drink. I have the ceremonial cacao. And I started with every 15 days, and now I do it twice a week. Some people do it every day, but for me, it's like being connected to the source with this beautiful cacao time for me. So I would be there with my cup, and for 20-30 minutes I'll be just be in the moment to enjoy each taste of it, each mouthful of the cacao going through my mouth into my belly, and then awakening my chakras and feeling the groundedness, connecting to the spirit realms as well. I'm totally being there, enjoying that process, and that itself is a meditative state for me. I'm a person, I generally like to meditate throughout the day if possible rather than an hour or 40 minutes at a stretch. That would be my ideal things, yeah. So I try to schedule like between like couple of times in a week, 2 times, maybe 3 times, for 45 minutes of meditations. And the rest of the times I don't do those meditations, whereas I'm conducting a lot of meditation classes as well, so I enjoy that. But for myself it's like 2 or 3 times, that's it. And rest of the time I focus more on the mindfulness, so checking in myself. Breathing is my most important anchor. Checking in myself, am I breathing deep, am I breathing shallow, is my chest tight, because I have asthma, so I need to be checking out on that. If I feel any tightness, I need to be more aware to breathe properly. So breath is the most important thing for me that way, and that's something that I do every day that I'm conscious about it at least a couple of times a day, that I'm very aware of. Yeah. And with that comes in like the protection. So protection is a simple technique that I usually follow. Is when I wake up in the morning, I try to visualize like a beautiful blue light or a golden light, and sometimes with Archangel Michael. Hey, Archangel Michael, please protect me with your beautiful clock of protection from head to toes. And that's it. That's something again like a thought in less than a minute, and you can do it so you are energized for your day. So something that I absolutely love, and I don't see as something very different to my everyday routines. Like you brush in the morning, that's what I do. This, yeah. The moment I wake up, this is my ritual kind. before the snooze, I would be waking up. In the snooze time, I'll be focusing on my breath and then giving 2 minutes of Reiki to me, and then putting the feet on the ground by the time the snooze comes in, and just feeling anchoring and being gratitude moment, like being grateful for those feet to be touching the earth. And there I'm more alert when I'm waking up. Yeah, no matter what kind of a sleep I'm having, I'm trying to focus on when I'm awake. So those are the things that are very simple to be done, and it's just like, to be honest, in the start I had to make it a sticky notes around my bed to remind myself, and literally I have this like in front of my bed as it's a beautiful day, so I need to remind myself so the weather doesn't um, hold up to what kind of a day I'm going to be having here. And then moving on to is the intentions I set. What is today going to be like? Calm, peaceful, or like a kind of a busy day? All right, okay, let's take a deep breath and get charged for it. So I'll be looking into the guidance or more be intuitive with it. Just setting an intentions is what I absolutely love. The thought about like what kind of a day it is will helps you to like a river, it flows towards it. So yeah, try that and you will feel like you are anchoring yourself to a progressive thing. And be mindful about you the next part of the day, like getting ready for your work, or spending time with the children, with your partner. It could be like anything that you're doing. Try to have those sticky notes or reminders on your phone that you are more mindful about your routines. Yeah. And with all that, I also do Akashic Records channeling. I do for the clients reading, I do teach that. So here I used to, when I was learning for many years, I was practicing it every single day. But in the last couple of years, I have come down to practicing it for 3 days for myself. 3 to 4 days, or spending that 20-30 minutes is like a meditation for me. It's healing as well, so I try to schedule in between my client sessions so I'm recharging my own fuel as well. So in that, like I'll be just witnessing the wisdom that's coming in, or looking for more guidance from those beautiful realms of information, or get me prepared for the next client as well. So this is where I use my Akashic records more intensely on a weekly basis. Yeah. And affirmations are my another beautiful portal. When I was new into Reiki, retraining my brain to be more positive, affirmations were all around my house, even on the kitchen cabinets, on the fridge, on the door, on the house door when we were leaving out as well, to see these affirmations, because constantly I had to remind myself on my mirror, everywhere they were there. And that's just because we're not used to telling ourselves how much we are worth it, right? Nobody tells us. So you have to train yourself all of a sudden. And so it does take a bit of a practice and a time as well. So for me to do it with the affirmations was the best thing, which I absolutely love about. And I do it as well, like, so I do have at my workplace, and in the bathroom as well, near the doors as well. Still, some of the affirmations, I keep changing them, like, it could be related to the health, abundance, it could be the peace, it could be like, well-being of the family, it could be, I try to keep changing it, and now you can design so beautifully on the Canva. So definitely check it out. Have those beautiful shifts, like, that you're reminded about these affirmations. And all you need to do is keep chanting them as mantras, and keep thinking about that vibration of the energy of these affirmations. And the best way for me works as well is in the morning, like with that intention itself is an affirmation. And generally the science has been proven that it's great, like when you wake up, that's the best time to use affirmations. Than the rest of the day it might be more struggle to it. So see what's your comfortable timing, or what you are comfortable with, and start practicing from that space onwards. Yeah. This is where, when you practice all these things, you're opening up yourself into a beautiful manifestation realms, and where you are able to manifest and to get the guidance of, how you are able to support yourself. So these practices are about you, not to verify someone, but these are your own personal habits that you're keeping, you're grounding, you're protecting. You are more in control of yourself rather than someone else being in control of you. And as we do these spiritual practices over the time, you would notice that you are going inwards. You are being in a beautiful silence place where you are communicating with your spirit, communicating, connecting to your own soul. Rather than the clutter outside, you're going inwards. And that's where the deepest healing comes out. If you are looking for a guidance to improve on your intuition or psychic abilities, going inwards is the best way to do it. And by having these consistent practices, that helps us to build. Say, for example, you want to play soccer. Of course, you have to practice regularly, at least 3 times, 4 times a week, right? And then you're able to play a game. The same thing happens if you are aiming to be more closer to your own divine self. And this is where you're building yourself. Yeah. Some of the major things that I noticed is my anger towards myself or situations have shifted, and I'm more at peace with things. I can easily forgive now and also release those parts. Yeah. I definitely worry less about what's ahead, because I do trust in my own inner guidance, and I have the tools to look after myself as well. And you become more kinder towards you, to the world, to the people around. You become more present with being compassionate for each other. You're able to be you without having much of a filtrations there. Yeah. And you do nothing means you're doing a lot. So even if you have to just put your feet up, rest, remember, that's the biggest thing you are doing to yourself. And that is so important to your soul to be doing it as well. Yeah. So do listen to your soul and do what resonates with you. And that's the most important thing. Maybe start with a very small practice of writing it down, or breathing in just from 5 to 10 minutes. And that would be a good one to begin with. Maybe have a habit tracker. So you check in, what habit are you having? Sometimes just be observant to our day is enough, rather than adding any more tools as well. Then commit to it, because you love yourself so much. You better commit to it, and that's your decision at your own time. Say, don't wait for Mondays. Start from today onwards. Today I'm just going to be observing about my breath. You don't need 9 o'clock in the morning, or you don't need a Monday to begin that, right? And just show up and practice, and give yourself a reward for doing it consistently. Maybe treat yourself with the most important thing. For me, it would be crystals, or going for a massage therapy. So do treat yourself with what you love. Back those days, I used to treat myself. I still do, but I made as my happy tracker, and I would treat myself with flowers and crystals. So definitely, that helps you to be more optimistic, something to look forward, and you mean a lot. Remember, you do this because you mean a lot to yourself. Yeah. And don't change anything. Just become more of yourself. That's the most important thing. Yeah. And agree to disagree, everything who you are, that's the most important thing. Yeah. Once you are happy with yourself, you can agree with everything that's around you. You'll be more satisfied, more content in your life, and you'll bring more peace. And as you shine your light, you are shining people around you as well. doing this work is not only for you, but also the people around. And sometimes by showing it, by doing it, is more than talking about it. Yeah, definitely without my practices, I wouldn't have been here. Healing or working with people, I would have still been in my day job. Yeah, definitely it gives you the strength, knowledge as well, and you're a better version of yourself. So go on, embrace yourselves, and bring in a practice that brings joy to you. So with that, lots of love. Hope you found some nuggets here to resonate with, and let me know in the show below notes what resonated with you, or email me. Check out new workshops that are coming up. So if you're in Seattle, I have some amazing in-person events coming up for the new moon, full moon, angels workshops in person. Finally, I'm able to do it. And also my online workshops. Do check out. It's www.srimanju.com. It's all going to be in the show notes below. So check out and connect to you guys again next podcast. Take care. Namaste. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.